Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of The Professional Fan. I am the Professional Fan, Mike Antonace. Thank you for joining me. If you're new here and just joining us, please hit that like button on your way in and subscribe. Oh, hey, what's up, Humble? Welcome. On today's edition of The Professional Fan, I am going to be going over the Cleveland Browns draft and giving it an overall grade, review, all that good stuff, my take. And whether you like my take, agree with me, or disagree with me, please comment, share, all of that good stuff. It helps us out a ton. So let's just get right into it. First and foremost, I kind of want to get into the trade because that kind of is part of the draft too. Well, it started off all of our nights as Browns fans. Yeah, that's Travis, my cat. So Cleveland Browns had the number 2 overall pick, traded back to the 5th overall pick with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they obtained a first next year, Jacksonville's first, and their 2nd overall pick, and then it was a 4th round pick swap, and then that is it. So, was I a fan of the trade at first? Let's grade that trade first and foremost. I give the trade a B. After sleeping on it, and now that the draft is past, couple days, all that good stuff, have time to simmer, I don't mind the trade. Generally, you won't see trades like that in the NFL, where a team is willing to give up a future first unless they are acquiring a quarterback. Unless, like you were Chicago. The one year they had the number 1 overall pick, but they were still trying with Justin Fields. They didn't know if they wanted to keep him or not. They didn't know if he was the guy. So they traded the number 1 overall pick to Carolina, which ended up becoming Bryce Young, and they obtained a future first out of that and a bunch of other assets. You won't usually see a team willing to give up a future first unless it was for a quarterback, but we got it out of Travis Hunter. Now, Travis Hunter is an immense talent. I think he's going to be great in the NFL, but it's kind of hard to say no to a future first when you don't know if, even though the rookies have, you've picked 2 rookie quarterbacks, if they're actually going to become anything. My cat agrees with me. So I gave the trade as a B. You get a future first. Jacksonville is usually a middling team. Maybe they aren't this year. Maybe they're a playoff team and the pick is in the later teens, early 20s. But more often than not, Jacksonville is a middling team. You're hoping that can possibly be a top 10 pick. And here, the Browns, I don't foresee being extremely competitive this year. I still think they're going to be a fun team to watch. I don't think it'll be a lot of wins, but that doesn't mean we won't be a lot more fun to watch than last season. That was just rough. So, welcome. Joseph appeared for a brief moment. So we're going to get into it over the rest of the picks. I'm going to go draft order, grading every pick as it comes. So I'm going to go ahead and share a screen with you. I have all of the collegiate stats for pretty much every player. This is via sportsreference.com. So first, we're going to go over Mason Graham. Now, Mason Graham, upon trading back to the 5th overall pick, we picked defensive tackle Mason Graham, who, in my mind, he was there and they dipped. Yeah, I think he's backstage, Humble. He might join us a little bit later on. So, for the 5th overall pick, Cleveland Browns trade back and they pick up Mason Graham. Now, Mason Graham is somebody who on a lot of NFL teams' boards was as high as the 3rd overall prospect. Now, the Browns have historically not invested a whole lot into the defensive tackle room, and that has drastically changed since Jim Schwartz has become our defensive coordinator. I'm super happy about that because, I mean, that's been a big flaw with the Browns and kind of the Achilles heel of our defense. All you had to do with is just run it up the middle, run it up the gut, and it would just, expose us. And what have the Browns been doing? Well, the last draft, our first pick, which we didn't have a first-round pick that year, we picked Mike Hall, 3-tech out of Ohio State. And this year, the 5th overall pick, we picked Mason Graham. Now, in Sports Reference, these stats, it might be a little hard to see, but he has started 3 years at Michigan. First year as a freshman. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't state this, but he has had a 91% run stopping grade since he was a freshman in college, which is unheard of. So year 1, 27 combined tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. Year 2, this is the natty year, 36 combined tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. And last year, 45 combined tackles, 7 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks. So he's just a disruptor from the interior. He is an absolute disruptor. This cat is going to be so good on the Browns defensive line. He was one of my favorite prospects. Joseph and I, on many an episode, would be talking about this kid, and it just not only was he just being, I think, undervalued, but kind of oversight because of Abdul Carter, the hype surrounding him. Not to say that Abdul Carter isn't a great player, because I think he's going to be excellent for New York, but Mason Graham could go down being the best defensive lineman out of this draft, and I wouldn't be shocked. His sack numbers aren't going to jump off the board, but he played from the nose tackle position at Michigan, and he is just an absolute monster. The Browns made it very clear in this draft, especially with the first 2 picks, that they are sick of teams running it up the middle, especially you're in the AFC North. 2 out of the 4 teams in our division, excluding us, their whole game plan is just to run it up the middle and attack you with the run game. The Ravens deal with the quarterback and Derrick Henry now. The Steelers, it doesn't matter who they have in the backfield, they're always going to do that. And maybe the Bengals move to more of that too. They picked up Taj Brooks in the 6th round in the past draft, and I liked him a lot coming out of A&M. But Mason Graham as a pick, I think he's an immediate starter on this defensive line. I don't think he's rotational in any breadth. I think he's going to start day 1, and I think he's going to make an immediate impact. He's not somebody that you can... Oh, Texas Tech. Thank you, Joseph. I said A&M. I knew it was in Texas, but Mason Graham's an immediate starter. He's going to be extremely disruptive, and the biggest key to success on this Browns defense is how in the hell do we get Myles Garrett a damn one-on-one? That has been our biggest thing. How do we get him one-on-one? So that's what we're trying to do, because it's going to be real hard to block Mason Graham without double teaming him, and you can't double team everybody. And Mike Hall, he got hurt at the end of last season, but he was showing a lot his rookie year. I was extremely impressed with his pressure rate. Obviously, the sack numbers didn't jump off the board, but a defensive line with Myles Garrett, Mike Hall, and Mason Graham is enticing, and Isaiah McGuire is good enough in the run that you can have him out there as kind of the running mate to Myles, and then you have a nice little rotation. You sign Joe Tryon, Shoyinka, and then Obo Okoronkwo is still on the team, and he's your speed rusher. But I love the pick. Mason Graham, easy A+. Easy A+ for me. Now, I'm just taking that at face value for the pick. I understand if you're upset that we passed on Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter even. I get that, but Mason Graham as a prospect, A+. Easy for me. Next, we're going to go into the second pick. My personal favorite. Now, if you don't watch UCLA football because you're not a psycho like me, you might not know this kid. You're gonna, though, and you're gonna love him. It's like that Back to the Future meme. Yeah, you might not be ready for this, but your kids are gonna love it. I'm talking about Carson Schwessinger. Carson Schwessinger is an absolute damn machine. I want to show you these stats. So he only started at linebacker last year. That was his first year as a starting linebacker, right? But the reason why he was the 33rd overall pick, essentially a first-round pick, first pick of the second round, is because of these numbers. Let's look at this. Look at this. I don't know if you can see this. 90 solo tackles. 90. 46 assisted tackles for combined tackles of 136. 9 tackles for lost, 4 sacks, and 2 picks. And a forced fumble. 136 combined tackles. Carson Schwessinger was one of my favorite prospects of the entire draft. Even before the Browns took him, I was saying he was one of my favorite picks. And whoever got him would be getting a steal. And this kid is a steal for the Browns at 33. Now, my biggest thing with the Carson Schwessinger pick and why it worries me a bit is this makes me wonder for JOK's future. You know, Tyvis Powell recently was on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Shout out Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. If you haven't checked that show out and you're a Browns fan, you absolutely need to, even though they can get a little heated between the hosts over there, and I might not agree with everything that they say, but still a great show. Tyvis Powell has said that he thinks JOK's career is over. And the consensus as to the reason why is, even though JOK may be healthy, it's going to be hard for him to get medically cleared from a doctor because the amount of risk that it is. So to explain that is, let's say JOK is fine, he's healthy, he's fine, but he had a very scary neck injury. There was some nerve damage involved. If you're a doctor and you have to clear him, you're assuming that risk for clearing him. And if he gets injured again and he gets paralyzed, that's on you. So that is Tyvis Powell's assumption. Tyvis is an NFL player, star college player. He's been around the league. He knows the ins and the outs. So that makes me worried. But if Carson Schwessinger can be out there with JOK, our linebacking room is stacked. I mean, those two starting, you still have Jordan Hicks, I believe. You signed Jerome Baker. You still have Mahmoud Diabate. Bookie Watson, I think, is going to be more of a special teams guy now. But you have that panoply of linebackers. And then Winston Reed, who's a UDFA that they really, really liked, who's they tendered. But Carson Schwessinger, man, I know I already gave an A+. I'm giving another one. I don't care. A+. Second highest graded linebacker in the entire draft. You got it. Pick 33. Fills an area of possible need if JOK can no longer play, and or at least can't start the year. He can start immediately, and he's great on special teams. He's an immediate Mike linebacker, which unfortunately is a role that JOK was starting to play in. He moved from Will to Mike finally last year, and he was doing well up until his injury. So all prayers up for JOK. I hope he can play again. He's one of my favorite players on the Browns, but God forbid if he can't go, and that's it for JOK. It was the last we saw of him last year. Carson Schwessinger is an excellent replacement, and I think he'll be an immediate impact player like Mason Graham. So he's an A+. My thoughts on Jim Schwartz. I think Jim Schwartz is an excellent defensive coordinator. My thing with Jim Schwartz is his defense has always bend, don't break. He's never going to do anything crazy. His wide 9 is very simple, and it's very much like, hey, we're going to play a lot of man. We're going to rush 4, and we're not going to blitz a lot. We're going to win with 4. That's always been his thing. And the biggest thing was just getting those pieces to win with 4. Because if you look at Jim Schwartz's historical good defense. I mean, at Tennessee, he had Jeffrey Simmons. At Philadelphia, he had Fletcher Cox in his prime. So Jim Schwartz always had a dominant defensive tackle, which is very important for that wide nine scheme and what the Browns have been trying to find, which is what I think was a big engine and reason why we drafted Mason Graham. But I think he's excellent. I think he's good at finding the most out of his players and what all of his players are good at. My only thing is I wish he would get a little bit creative. But that's to say, like, you don't want to get too creative because you've already seen that our certain corners struggle in zone like badly. Our safety isn't the strongest room at the free safety position. So like free safety, like in Jim Schwartz's defense, is more of like a babysitting role. He always wants the free safety not to do too much, just to like kind of watch the top end of the field and don't let anything crazy happen. But he doesn't like free safeties jump cutting, which kind of sucks. And I think Ronnie Hickman has the ability to do that. So I like Jim Schwartz. I wish he would get a little bit more creative, but I get why he's not. Because if it's working, it's working, right? Now, for the 36 overall pick, this is who we got from Jacksonville. It's essentially Jacksonville's pick. Get rid of these ads. Was Quinshon Judkins. Now, this is another pick I really like, guys. I mean, it's looking like Nick Chubb isn't going to return. Believe me, that breaks my heart as much as anybody else's. He was the heart and soul of the team. Looking like he won't be back. But Quinshon Judkins, if you got to replace Nick Chubb, is a pretty solid one. I mean, 2 years at Ole Miss, he had over 1,000 yards rushing. Let's see. About 2 touchdowns at Ole Miss. His second year, 1 touchdown his first year. But last year, 16 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns at Ole Miss. I was looking at receiving. But last year for Ohio State, and he wasn't even he shared carries. So if you look at these attempts, I mean, 1,500 yards, 1,100 yards off of 274, 271 at Ole Miss, 15 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns off of 271 and 274. His attempts go from 194 from the 270s to 194 at Ohio State. He still finishes the season with 1,060 yards, 5.5 yards per carry in the Big Ten, 14 touchdowns with 161 yards receiving, and 2 more touchdowns receiving as well. Quinshon Judkins is a stud, guys. He's an absolute stud. I think he's an easy bell cow back for the Browns. I think he's going to succeed very quickly. I think he's going to be our starting running back. I think he needs to work on vision a little bit, but, Deuce Staley's already getting him in the room. He's so excited for Quinshon Judkins. This pick for me is a B. I think there was an argument to be made that TreVeyon Henderson could have been the better pick, but Quinshon, younger, bigger, a little bit more athletic, faster. So he's got the tools that you want. And he split carries and was still super successful. So I think he's going to be having that 18 to 20 carries per game for the Browns. I think, again, day one starter. This could go from a B pick to a easy A+. But he's a machine. I think, we're in Ohio. We're all Ohio State fans, or at least watch Ohio State in some capacity. I think he's going to be a beast, guys. I really do. Next, we have my second favorite pick of the draft. That's Mr. Harold Fannin Jr. Mr. Harold Fannin Jr. Now, we're just going to pay attention to last year when he was actually being targeted. 117 receptions, 1,500 yards, and 10 touchdowns. 119 yards a game. He was the MAC Offensive Player of the Year, and he is he's special, guys. I mean, he's getting Antonio Gates comps. I don't know if I'm there yet with him. He did play in the MAC, but I think this kid has superstar potential. I really do. Now, I think they'll plan on re-signing David Njoku, who I think has a year or two left on his deal. But I think if you want another long-term tight end, that's going to be your starting tight end over David Njoku. Harold Fannin Jr. is a hell of a pick. And you get him at great value at pick 67. The only downside to him is he played in the MAC. But he can block, he can catch, he's explosive, he's super athletic, he's got great hands, he's great in contested catch, and the biggest thing for the Kevin Stefanski offense is he's fantastic yards after the catch. He gets yak, which is all about it. So, Harold Fannin, that's an A. That's an A for me. Now, everybody's favorite pick, right? Everybody loved this pick that I'm about to share. Our second, third round pick. We picked quarterback Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel. Very long collegiate career. Started in 2019. He entered college. But we'll just focus on Oregon because that's fresh in everybody's mind. Now, I don't like this pick. I didn't like the pick then. I still kind of don't. Now, completion percentage last year at Oregon, 73%. It's damn good. 3,800 yards, 30 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. The previous year at Oklahoma was nearly identical. 70% completion percentage, 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Once again, Dillon Gabriel is... I feel bad because, I feel like Cleveland media has just been beating up on this kid. And I know the Browns really like him. They love this kid. They really do. Everything in the building, everybody in that building seems to really, really love Dillon Gabriel, the person and the prospect. I'm just not there with him, guys. I think he's an excellent game manager. He's accurate. He can zip. He's an okay athlete. But his height is very much a question mark. I'm not huge on the fact that he's left-handed. Now, all that being said, here's the thing. Joy Taylor said this, and I very rarely agree with Joy Taylor, but you really don't know on quarterbacks, guys. I mean, Josh Rosen was supposed to be a for sure thing, right? Danny Dimes was supposed to be a for sure thing, right? There are players all the time, quarterbacks all the time that are picked that people are like, oh, he's going to be fucking awesome. And then there are quarterbacks picked all the time that people are not a fan of that end up being great. Here, I'll be honest. I hated the Bo Nix pick for the Broncos last year. I hated it. I had him as a 4th round guy. I'm not going to lie. And, Bo Nix worked out. I don't think Dillon Gabriel is going to start by any means. Oh, what's up, Raul? But, if I have to grade this pick, I'm just gonna put it at a my prospect level for Dillon Gabriel was 160s. If they liked him, I really think they could have got him later. I'm gonna give this pick a C-. I'm being very charitable there. I'm being very charitable at a C-. And I'm only doing that because I'm an absolute homer. I should give that pick a D. And now we're on to another one of, I think this guy is excellent value. We're going to Dylan Sampson. Can I give a record prediction, Humble? Absolutely. At the end of the show, tell you what, I'll give you a record prediction before I get off the air. But this cat, guys, Dylan Sampson, our 4th round pick, is not being talked about enough. This kid, there were 2 prospects I talked about very highly that I thought would be steals in this draft. And I talked about it on this show, and I talked about it on Joseph's show. Those 2 players were Carson Schlesinger and Dylan Sampson, and it's shocking that they both ended up on my team. Dylan Sampson was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year last year. Dylan Sampson set the record for most touchdowns of any player at Tennessee, offensive player. Dylan Sampson ran at a clip of 5.8 yards per carry last year. 258 carries for 1,491 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 143 yards receiving to put total scrimmage yards at 1,634 with an average of 5.9 yards per play and 22 rushing touchdowns. 22 rushing touchdowns. Dylan Sampson is an easy B+ for me, guys. I love this pick. He's an excellent third down scat back. He's a boom or bust guy. He makes that cut, and you don't get him on the ground, he's gone. He's an excellent pass catcher. He can block. He's big. He's strong. Dylan Sampson is such a good pick for this team, and you want to talk about a 1-2 punch that you can get excited about. It's Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, and I can't wait to watch these guys. You know, I know Jerome Ford's still on the team. I'm sure they'll find a role for him, but it's going to be really, really hard not for your RB1 and RB2 to be Judkins and Sampson in that order. And I think that's kind of hard to argue with. This is a B. Dylan Sampson, I think, can be one of those guys like Kareem Hunt that was a fan favorite very quickly. Yeah. Shout out Jerome Ford. I think he's going to have some sort of role, but I think if the Browns wanted to cut him and save some money, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Now, I'm sure Jerome Ford, I mean, he has special teams capability. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know. But Dylan Sampson, guys, you're going to love him. If you didn't watch Tennessee football, you're going to love him. Like, he's so explosive. Yeah, that's the one word I would use to describe Dylan Sampson if I had to, is explosive. Next is our last pick of the draft. And certainly not least. And that is Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Fell to the fifth round. And Browns traded their 2 6th-round picks and their 5th-round pick to move up and go get him. Collegiate career, at least at Colorado, because it's not even listing JSU. In 2023, 69% completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 3 picks. Pretty damn good. 2024, 74% completion percentage, 4,134 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks. Significantly better. And 8.7 yards per attempt. Man. How do I grade this pick? So as a prospect, I'm just going to go as a prospect because I know that he's a super polarizing individual. I think Shedeur is a great kid. I'm going to say that right off the rip. I think he's a great kid. I know he's famous. I know he comes from a famous family. And I know that can rub someone the wrong way in a blue-collar sport like football, what have you. But all of these guys make money at the pro level. It's not shocking. All of these guys, most of these guys drive a Porsche. You know what I mean? Like, as a prospect, I had Shedeur Sanders as like in the 20s. I think he is a first-round talent. Easy. Now, as a prospect, for the value, it's unarguable. You know, you get a guy who a lot of people had at least in the 20s as a prospect, as a quarterback. You get him in the 5th round. I mean, that's insane value. That's like DeJuan Jones. Like, DeJuan Jones is supposed to be a first-round pick. Said he liked basketball in an interview. People took that the wrong way. He drops to the 4th. He's excellent. You know, great value. As far as value for the pick and the player, this is an easy A+. That's just as a prospect. Now, it's just a matter of, I understand the interviews went well. I know there's a lot of stuff coming out about his pre-draft process as to why he dropped formulate your own opinion on that. I'm just going off of brass tacks about football, about as a prospect. And as a prospect, Shedeur is an excellent one. He reads the field well. He's not like a crazy athlete, but he's not a slouch. He manipulates the pocket well, super accurate. And I think he's a smart football mind. We just got to see if those red flags go away, because I mean, here if it affects on the field locker room stuff, yeah, you got to worry about it. But I'm just talking about as a prospect, as an overall draft, and this, I mean, as for value for the player, you get him at a consensus like 20s, late 20th ranked prospect to maybe early second. You get him in the 5th. It's an A+ pick. It just is. And again, formulate your own opinion on the off the field stuff. I understand if that rubs you the wrong way, but I'm not really here to kind of discuss that. I'm here to just talk about as far as value goes, as far as where big boards had him and what you're getting, And I get Shedeur very polarizing. I get that, I get everything. Believe me, I do. I have questions about it too. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think everybody would have been happy, before the draft happened if I said, hey, what if we get Mason Graham, Shedeur Sanders, and Quinshon Judkins? What if I would have told you that would have happened before the draft even started? I bet all of us would be pretty fucking psyched. Oh, thank you for joining us, Jeff. Am I the only one that's high on Dillon Gabriel? Shedeur Sanders has an average arm as well as his arm strength is not as strong as people think. I have him as the right-handed Tua. And that's a fair comp. I had him as like a Tua, Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think that's a bad comp. But here's the thing. Tua Tagovailoa, while not like all-pro level or like not one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Tua Tagovailoa is a franchise quarterback. I mean, he has been. He is. He was getting MVP votes a couple years ago. Excuse me. If he's the right-handed Tua, I mean, think about it. The Dolphins, maybe Joseph can remind me. I don't remember when Tua was taken. I know it was early first round because there was the whole tank for Tua thing. Joseph, in the comments, remind me when Tua was taken. Oh, he's here. Here, yeah.
He was taken 6 overall.
6 overall. Yeah. So, Jeff, if Shedeur Sanders becomes Tua Tagovailoa, I'm happy. I'm a very happy camper if he becomes Tua Tagovailoa. I think Tua, minus the concussions, I think we can all agree. If he becomes Tua Tagovailoa minus the horrifying concussions, I'm happy. I think Tua is a franchise quarterback. And here, if the Browns get one of those in the 5th round, that's a hell of a value, especially if like you find that out early and you have him on a rookie quarterback or a rookie contract, then that you're paying him a 5th round rookie contract for 3 years. Hell of value, dude. I'd sign off on that tomorrow. Yes, I agree. So I love the pick, but I also like Dillon Gabriel. I'm not saying I dislike Dillon. I think where people have a disconnect with Dillon Gabriel is where he was picked and where people thought he should be. Here, at the end of the day, it's the quarterback position. There is, the quarterback inflation is real. I've said that multiple times. I believe that quarterback inflation is real. So, if you like the kid, I get it. You got to take him. I had him as I had Dillon Gabriel 170, ranked prospect. I know a lot of people had him around there, 170, 180. There were some people that were having him in the 200s. Dillon Gabriel had a hell of a collegiate career. He's extremely experienced. He's a smart kid, never any problems, decent arm, an okay athlete, like I said, super accurate. There are pluses to Dillon Gabriel. I'm not saying I don't think it couldn't work out in a certain scenario. I'm just saying, from the tools you had, he's been in college since 19. He's an older cat. you know, in his physical God-given traits aren't your usual NFL caliber quarterbacks with Dylan Gabriel. I think that's where a lot of people kind of have a disconnect, If he would have been picked after Shedeur in like the 170s, I don't think anybody would have a problem with the pick. I just think it stems from not only where they picked him, but also who else was on the board. That we had a needed safety, and Xavier Watts was still there. I mean, there were a couple of other players that could have had an impact on your team, and they go Dylan Gabriel. But again, if you like a quarterback, you got to take him. Like, that's just the way it is. And from my understanding, the Browns love this kid. So, that's where I'm at with Gabriel. I'm not hating on the kid. I don't personally like the pick just because of where he was selected as to where the value is. Like, I'm super analytical with all this stuff, Jeff. Like, I get into RAS scores, I get into charting. Like, I'm a nerd with this stuff. So like when I see this kind of stuff happen, like, it's like I'm very much, like, freak out about it. Like, I could be completely wrong. Like I said, I had Bo Nix as a 4th round talent last year, and I was wrong. And I'm okay to I'll say I'm wrong. Like, I was wrong. Bo Nix is an excellent NFL quarterback. Hell, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about Dylan Gabriel. I hope the whole NFL was wrong about Shedeur Sanders. I mean, wouldn't it be great? Browns get 2 franchise quarterbacks in one draft after not being able to find one for 25 years. I would sign off on that tomorrow. But my issue is everybody wanted Kevin to pick the quarterback, and when he did, people trashed him for it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get that. And here's the other thing people are kind of losing it on. I really think, like I said, Jeff, it's just that where he was taken as opposed to what was on the board. Because at the end of the day, when you're swinging on a quarterback at pick 94, how many 3rd round guys are starting in the NFL today? You know what I mean? How many, and for that matter, how many 5th round guys? Like, maybe Shedeur is the first, but like, there aren't a lot of guys in the NFL taken after round 2 that are starters. I can think of a few. Russell Wilson, he's still in the NFL. He still has a starting position. Dak Prescott was picked, I believe, in the 3rd round. Not a lot, guys. Jalen Hurts was 2nd round. So I think it just comes to where he was picked and what else was there. We had a needed safety. Xavier Watts was there. I would have preferred Xavier Watts at that pick. And then, you could have gone a Will Howard or a Dylan Gabriel later, unless they thought someone else really liked him and was going to pick him. But quarterback inflation is what it is. Brock Purdy, thank you, duh. We need a franchise quarterback. Such a freaking stacked division. Yes, it is, Humble. Always will be, man. AFC North football, it's always going to be a stacked division. I will say the Browns defense is looking scarier and scarier as the days go on. That defensive line, that secondary, oh my God, the linebacking room. Oh, that linebacking room is disgustingly good. Oh, it's so deep. I'm so excited for this season. I'm so excited to watch the impact players immediately. Hey, guys in the chat, tell me your favorite pick from the Browns. And if you're just joining us, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and comment in. I just gave grades of all the Browns picks. I'm gonna chat for a couple more minutes, give some predictions and whatnot, and give an overall grade as well. Oh, give me your favorite pick from this past draft. I should have specified. But Ronnie Hickman, yeah, I like him too, Jeff. I think he was super underrated. Ronnie Hickman has had a better pro career so far than he had collegiate career. It's kind of wild how it happened. He has played better in the pros than he ever did at Ohio State. Ronnie Hickman is an anomaly. Oh, and maybe I'll go over the UDFAs in another episode, but Andrew Berry usually finds like 1 to 2 guys in the UDFA market that end up being impact players on special teams or even on defense. Recent memory, Mahmoud Diabate, and of course, Ronnie Hickman. We just need our O to score. I think we can make the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know if I'm there yet, Humble. I really don't. And I'm not a negative Nancy. I'm just trying to be realistic. I think that this year is going to be very much a figure it out year. You know, you have 2 rookie quarterbacks that you took day 2, so you have a shorter quarterback contract, rookie quarterback contract for both of them because you don't have a 5th-year option. You pick both of them. You like both of them. Yeah, you'll figure some stuff up in camp, but you're going to want to play both of them at some point. And here, even if they want to start Joe Flacco hasn't played a 16-game season, let alone a 17-game season, a full season since 2017. So, you know, and he's old. He's 40. Like, no disrespect to Joe Flacco, but I don't foresee him playing more than 6 games this season. I think maybe he starts the first 6, and then whoever they like more in camp and practice will get a look. And then if they struggle, the next guy will get the look. You know, I dropped the link again. Yeah, Jeff, I think they should go with the young guys as well. I just don't know if they will. You know what I mean? I think that they're comfortable with Joe Flacco. The next Spurgeon win in Tua. Here, Raul, I know we're joking, but I don't mind. I don't mind Tua. Tua is a franchise guy. I mean, if we get a Tua out of a 5th-round quarterback, I'm happy. They're hiring him as well as they traded for him. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but you got to remember they look at these quarterbacks like assets, you know. So, like, I mean, we signed. Oh my God, his name is eluding me. Josh Dobbs. We signed Josh Dobbs. He had a pretty successful preseason, and we traded him. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we try and do that similarly with Kenny Pickett or maybe even Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I assume Shedeur Sanders is going to look better in camp. I could be wrong. He might not. I'm hoping that I'm hoping he does. Yeah, shout out Josh Dobbs wherever you are. Wherever you are out there, buddy. You astronaut. That's the pastronaut. You really like Dobbs? I like Dobbs as a dude, man. See, Josh Dobbs, this has been said before, and I'm going to steal this from Q. Shout out Quincy Carrier. Go to sub to his channel if you aren't already. He makes some great content, but isn't so true of Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs will be great when he doesn't know the offense, and then as soon as he learns that playbook, bro can't do shit. Like I don't know what it is. Like when bro's just out there playing, like just running around, just playing, being an athlete, he's great. He learns that playbook, starts questioning himself. Nope, can't do it. Nobody wanted Josh Dobbs to work more than Jimmy Haslam. I promise you that. Tennessee Volunteers. But yeah, if I had to give a record prediction, answer your earlier question, Humble. Man, I'm gonna be courteous. I'm gonna say 8-9 right now. 8-9, a fun 8-9, maybe 9-8. Could go either way. With a very high 10-win ceiling. But I could be wrong. I mean, Shedeur Sanders could like blow up in camp, bro. Could look crazy and just win that starting job, and he could just smoke dudes. But I'm gonna say close to 500, if not a game over, or as close as you can get to 500 anymore, since it's a 17-game season. Which apparently they're now trying to move to 18 games. I don't know if that'll be. I don't know how that'll go over well with the NFLPA. Yeah, I'd say 8-9, 9-8. That feels right. Now, I will say, I think we might get 7 wins because it's a transition period for us. So kind of like, yeah, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. The only reason I would think we'd win that much is just because I really think we're going to run the shit out of that ball. And I think our defense is a veteran enough and good enough to win us those games while we figure shit out. I mean, the year we won 11 games, we played 4 different quarterbacks, Jeff. You know, I mean, shit, we had PJ Walker, UFL legend PJ Walker, win us a couple football games, you know, before he went back to the Seattle Sea Dragons or wherever the hell he is. How do we do against Cincinnati? We're up on Cincinnati. Kevin Stefanski smokes Cincinnati. I think they've only won twice against us in the past since Stefanski's been a coach. Like, Stefanski messes Cincinnati up. Ravens we always split with, and the Steelers we usually split with. We haven't won in Pittsburgh in a very long time. Yeah, I know. Our defensive line is going to be insane, dude. I'm so excited to watch it. And with Carson Schwessinger coming up the middle, prayers up for JOK, man. I just hope he's healthy. I hope he's healthy enough that I can watch JOK and Carson. Can't wait for the London game. Oh, shit. I forgot about that, Joseph. I forgot we're going to be in London this year. Damn. That's right. We're going to be in London. Oh. Man, that's crazy. I forgot we're going to be in London. Is this our first international game since we've been back? By the way, there's talks that Kenny Pickett is the favorite to win the job and start week 1. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, he's younger. You know, he's got some wheels. He's as tall as Joe Flacco, and he has starting. He's been in the league a couple years now. He's been in a couple different systems. I wouldn't be shocked if Kenny Pickett wins that job. I wouldn't be shocked if Joe Flacco's the odd man out. He just feels like the safe pick for me to start the year. You know what I mean? Like, he knows the Kubiak system. I mean, he's been in the league forever, and the Browns are already familiar with him. Callie has more DUIs and playoff wins than Kevin. Interesting. What game? I don't know what game it is yet, Humble. I don't know who will be playing in London until the schedule release. I don't think we'll know until then. But yeah, we do have a London game. At least it's not like in Brazil or some shit. Like, you know, I've been worried about our guys, man. I mean, here Rio's a pretty town. Brazil's nice. There's anybody watching in Brazil, but man, you know, hope they enjoy the tea and stuff out in Britain. Let's see. Yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting season. Oh, that's a good point. Deontay Johnson, what do I think of that pickup? Whoo-wee. I'm not like the biggest fan of it, but I get why he did it. I get why we did it. He's probably one of the cheaper wide receiver options out there in free agency. But he's also one that's had the most production in different systems. So, and he's a really polished route runner. But man, is he a locker room problem? My God. Deontay Johnson is just he's fucking oil and water with people, man. Like, as a player, I think he's pretty decent, and I think that he could be better if he worked just a touch harder. And here, maybe Deontay Johnson's learned from his mistakes. Maybe he's going to be set to prove all the doubters wrong. I don't hate the pickup, especially because I saw that it was like a $6 million deal. It's like a next to nothing deal. So if like he's a problem, they can cut him. But you know, it's low risk, high reward kind of guy. You know, if he starts being a problem in the locker room, the Browns will just cut him. It's, you know, it's an incentive laden deal. So, Johnson is like every player that leaves Pittsburgh, they stink. He had some success in Carolina. It's when he went to Baltimore and Houston, he really didn't shine. I wanted Keenan Allen because he's Kevin receiver, really good Outlander. Yeah, I like Keenan Allen a lot. The problem with Keenan is he probably was going to be relatively expensive, probably upwards of 15 to 18 million a year. And I don't think we're looking at doing that for a guy who's in his 30s. And while Keenan Allen has had success in recent years, like he can still play football, but Keenan Allen gets hurt every year. Every year he gets hurt. He's got durability issues. He's older. Nothing like no disrespect to Keenan. I think he can still play the game, and I think he can still do it at a high level. I just think it just doesn't make sense for the Browns. Should have signed Josh Gordon. Yeah, man. Josh Gordon, the biggest what if in our franchise's history, bro. Like, I still go back and watch Josh Gordon tape every now and then. Biggest what if ever. Here, man. And that's a big reason for you to subscribe and like the show, too, because, like, we talk about mental health stuff on Joseph's show every now and then. Hear of Josh Gordon, like, I get struggling with anxiety, that kind of stuff, and addiction, man. It gets to you. Like, it's good that Josh Gordon is in a better place in his life now, but, man, looking at his football career and the biggest what if, what was that free agent thing we put on Elijah Moore? So, essentially, it's like it's a restricted free agent tag. So basically it's saying if nobody signs you for this amount of money, you have to sign here for that amount of money. It's kind of like that. It's like a safety net. And also if they use that and someone signs him for that money, I think they get like a comp pick. It'll probably be like a 7th round. Teams like never use it because very rarely, if you're letting someone test the market, you don't really care or you don't mind if he signs somewhere else. Them Jalen Waddle rumors. Who would you give up? Newsome? I'm hearing Martin Emerson, bro. I've been hearing Martin Emerson a lot. Would I give up Newsome for Waddle? Yeah. Would I give up Martin Emerson for Waddle? Also, yes. I'd give up both of them. Jalen Waddle is an insane talent. And he's young and under contract for 4 years. That's a no-brainer for me, bro. I think him and Judy, all that speed, and Jalen Waddle's a really polished route runner. I know that Miami is fiending for a corner. I just don't know why they would do it. You know what I mean, Joseph? Like, I was talking with the guys at work, and I was like, I see that it's true. I just don't know why Miami would move him over Hill. He's their young star wide receiver. I don't see how it makes sense for them to move him unless they're like, here, he's expensive. We prefer to fix our defense first. I just wouldn't get it. But if the opportunity is there to go get Jalen Waddle, hell yeah, I'm all about it. I don't believe the Jalen Waddle rumors because Dolphins don't have the money for it. What do you mean? Like, oh, if we traded for him, we're assuming that contract. I imagine that would be part of the deal, which I would have no problem doing. I think Jalen Waddle's worth every penny. I think he's excellent. Yeah, the Dolphins would not have to worry about money because that would be the only way they would consider trading him, I imagine, is like, here, we'll consider it, but like we need a starting corner and we need that money. We need that money. But all right, gents. Looks like my hour is just about up. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for everybody who commented in. Thanks for everybody for asking questions, talking in the chat. Do you mind me asking, is it worth my money buying a Joe Flacco jersey? Do not buy a Joe Flacco jersey, Humble. Do not buy a Joe Flacco jersey. I don't know how. If you've been a Browns fan all your life, why are you buying a quarterback jersey? Don't buy quarterback jerseys. Don't do that. You're safe to buy a Myles Garrett jersey. Buy a Myles Garrett jersey. or like Quinshawn Judkins might be a safe rookie if you want a rookie jersey. Judkins, or buy like a Denzel Ward jersey. The dudes that are gonna like retire here, you know, like those are the two guys you're safe, or a long snapper or some shit. But all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and share this content. Thank you for being a professional, commenting in. Really, really enjoyed talking about our draft. I'm going to be going deep into every team's draft over the next couple weeks. Keep us busy. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I'll see y'all in the next one. Stay professional. Later. If I can end the stream properly.